Okay, so let's talk about a site that you either purchase from me or well, let's just talk about the ones you purchase from me. When you purchase a site from me, you're purchasing a complete site. So it's not it's not installed or uploaded as a plugin or as a theme. Okay, this is a complete site. Now, normally when you buy a site from me, it's going to install in usually one of three ways. Most often, it's going to be using backupbuddy to install the site, or duplicator, or WP clone. Okay, I usually provide all of those different files so that you have different methods or different options for installing the site. So let's talk about the home fitness site that you may have purchased. Um, this is a complete site. So again, it's not a plugin, it's not a theme. Okay, so it installs, this particular site installs using Duplicator, I believe. So how do you get this site installed? Well, it's really not that hard. And a site package like this, I've seen comments for about is it have anything to do with Associate Press? No, this doesn't have anything to do with Associate Press. Okay, this is a product all by itself. Okay, it's a complete site all by itself. Okay. Now, one of the things we need to know is we need to have a domain to put this site on, okay? So we need to know that. Then the next thing we need to do is we need to go and log in to your control panel, your hosting control panel. Now, if you don't know much about a control panel is provided for you to you through your hosting provider. So most everybody uses control or cPanel. iPage does not. And there may be a couple other hosting providers that don't use cPanel. I will only use cPanel, and I will only work on client sites that use cPanel. If you don't know about it, we do offer, or I do offer training, free training on the cPanel and how to use it in our free tutorials site that you can view at any time. So before we go any further, let's take a look at the files that you download. So if you downloaded this particular product, this particular site, let's take a look at those files. Okay, so here's all the folders and files that come with that particular product. You have most of the training, okay, of all the training here. And again, you will want to make sure and go through all of the training that we provide. The site actually installs with backupbuddy. Okay, so I said duplicator, but we're going to use backupbuddy install files. Now you also have your user login to the site after you get it installed, and then you have an install password. Okay, so right now we're going to be installing the site, so we're going to be using the install password for Import Buddy and the backupbuddy install files. If we go inside the backupbuddy install files, you're going to have a zip folder, which is the backup of the site. That is the site that we're going to be installing on your domain. And then we're going to have the installation file, which is called importbuddy.php. Okay, so these are the two files that we're going to use to install the site on your domain. Let's go back to our cPanel. So what we need to do at this point, you already want to have your domain. If you're not putting this on your main domain, then you will want to have already added the domain to your hosting account. So at this point, we need to go into File Manager. Now, at this point, you can select the site. If you're putting it on your main domain, you're only going to have one domain show up here. If you have multiple add-on domains that you've added, you will see them all listed here, as well as subdomains that you may have created. So what we're going to do is go into the web root and go and click Go. Now we're in the File Manager and what's called the public HTML. Think of the public HTML as the folder for your main domain. Okay, that's what public HTML is. That says we're in the folder for your main domain for this hosting account. Okay, now obviously I don't want to put this on this main domain, and I don't have an add-on domain, so what I'm going to do is create a subfolder and then install that site in a subfolder. Now at this point you would want to select the folder, or if it is putting on your main domain, you won't have any files here. You may have one folder called the CGI bin, but you won't have anything else here. If you're putting it on an add-on domain, you will see the add-on domain folder here. So at this point you need to select the correct folder for where you're going to put the site. And again, in this case, I'm going to create a subfolder. So I'm going to click New Folder. And I'm just going to name it. This is just a temporary training situation. So, okay, now we have our folder. So you can pretend like this folder is a domain. Okay, so here's our domain that we want to put the files on, or the site on, and you can see that it should be empty. At this point, we're going to click Upload. Now that will open up a new browser tab. So you still have your File Manager tab. Now you have your Upload tab, but you also have your main cPanel tab. You don't want to close any of these out. You want to have three. You're going to have three open, okay, because you're going to be working with all of them. Okay, so now it's time to upload the files. So what we're going to do is click Browse and browse to the location where you downloaded the files. Okay, so here we are. Now we're going to go inside the backupbuddy install files. So what we're going to do is upload the zip file first, which is the backup of the site. So we're just going to click on it once and then click Open. Now we're going to click Browse again. At this time we're going to select importbuddy.php and click Open. Okay, so now we have the files uploading. Now we don't want to waste any time, so we want to make best use of our time. So while this is uploading, instead of just sitting here and waiting and watching it upload, we're going to go back to our cPanel home. We have to create a database for this particular site. So we're going to scroll down and click on MySQL Database Wizard. Now we're going to give the database a name. You can name it whatever you like. Then click Next Step. Now we're going to give the database a username. I'm going to name it the same thing as I named the database. Now we need to create a password. All you really need to do is click on Password Generator. Now, once it generates a password for you, what you're going to do is copy this and put it on a notepad. Okay, so copy this to your clipboard and put it on a notepad. Now, once you have done that, you want to check the box that you have copied it to a safe location and then click Use Password. Now we click Create User. Now, at this point, we need to copy this information. Now, since I've named the database and the user the same, I'm only going to need to copy this once. I'm going to copy this to the same notepad the password is kept it. So once you have that copied to your notepad, you're simply going to click the box here and then click Next Step. Now at this point you're done with the database, so you can simply click Home. And now we're going to switch back over to our uploading, where we're uploading the files, and you can see that it's almost complete. So I'm going to pause the video until it's all the way complete and come right back. Okay, so the files have uploaded is complete. All we need to do now is we can click this link here to go back to the file manager. Now back in your file manager you should have a zip file and importbuddy.php. Now what we need to do is open up a new tab in your browser. Now in the new browser tab you're going to type in the URL, which is your domain, whatever your domain name is, .com, .net, whatever it is, and you're going to put in /importbuddy.php. So let's say you put it on a subdomain. Well, it's going to be your subdomain dot whatever your main domain is .com /importbuddy.php. Once you do that, you're going to come to this screen, and now it's time we need to get the install password that is provided for you. So we're going to go back into our files on our computer. Now we can see down here it says fitness project install password for import buddy. We need to open this notepad file and grab that password. So you're just going to copy that password off of the notepad file, and we're just going to paste it here. Now we're going to click authenticate. Now we're on step 1 of 6. So what we need to do now is click next step. What it's going to do now is unzip that zip file. And once it's unzipped, it's going to let you know. Now we're going to click next step. This is the area where we have to put in our database details that we created earlier. So from your notepad where you put your database password, your database name, and database username, you need to put those here. 99% of the time this will stay localhost, so you don't need to change that. So once you have your database name, database username, and database password filled in here, you want to make sure to come back here and make sure there's no spaces, okay, before or after. Sometimes when you're pasting stuff in, spaces get left, and if that happens, it will not work. So we need to make sure that that's not the case here. You can leave the database prefix to what it is at default. Next thing you want to do is click on database settings. If there's something wrong, it will let you know at this point. Good, so everything is correct. If you get this, then you're ready to go to the next step, so click this button. What Import Buddy is doing now is importing the database into the new database that you just created. Once that's done, it will let you know that it's complete, and we can click next step. The next step actually goes through the process of installing the site. So once the site is installed, you will see a success, or you'll see the site here, and it's going to tell you to make sure and check the site, make sure it's running. After you do that, you need to come down and click clean up and remove temporary files. So let's do that. Let's check the site and make sure that it's running. Okay, so our site is up and running. And you can notice that I didn't come across any errors, okay, or any plugin errors or anything like that. So at this point, we have a brand new site. It's installed on our domain, and now we can go ahead and log in using the details that I provide you, and you can actually start going through the training and getting the site set up for you. Remember, your training is here, okay, your login is here. It says Fitness Equipment Project User Login. So you're going to use these details to log in and start setting up your site.